buckle up everyone, because we are going deep. This isn't just a review, it's an autopsy of everything PS5 in 2025. We'll dissect its rollercoaster journey, scrutinize the current Slim and Pro models, benchmark its performance, rave about the DualSense, explore the critical game library, including Sony's evolving PC strategy, tackle the thorny issue of game pricing, PS Plus, pit it against the Xbox Series X, the imminent Nintendo Switch 2, and the ever-present allure of PC gaming. We'll even cover accessories, the OS, potential gremlins, accessibility wins, and finally render our verdict on whether your hard-earned cash should land on Planet PlayStation right now. No stone left unturned. Let's go. Now let's be real, the PS5's early days were pure pandemonium. Demand was stratospheric, supply was, well, supplied by mythical creatures, it seemed. Thankfully, Sony eventually wrestled the supply chain into submission. By late 2022, early 2023, the PS5 famine ended and consoles actually started appearing on shelves. And because of that, the PS5's game library did not seem as impressive as it should have in those early few years. But now, in the middle of its life cycle, it seems a bit more promising. We also saw internal tweaks leading to the hardware landscape of today. Now, forget those chunky launch units. If you buy new now, you're looking at the PS5 Slim, launched in late 2023. Still rocking that distinctive look, but definitely less of a behemoth on your TV stand. The two main options here are the PS5 Slim Standard with the disk drive included. Now this is your gateway to physical games, 4K UHD Blu-rays, and that sweet used game market. It packs a 1TB SSD. It's a slight bump in usual space from the original 825GB. Or you can buy the PS5 Slim Digital Edition. It looks a little more sleek, it's diskless, and it's entirely reliant on the PlayStation Store for your gaming fix. Same 1TB SSD inside. Now the neat trick with the PS5 Slim is the detachable disk drive on the standard model, so technically you could buy digital and add the drive later, though finding the drive solo might be its own mini quest. Do note that the vertical stand that used to be included is now often an extra purchase for the Slim. Well, it's a bit cheeky, but that's how the economy is. Now hold your horses. November 2024 saw the arrival of the PlayStation 5 Pro. This isn't just a slim down, it's a power up aimed squarely at those chasing peak performance and visual fidelity. Now what's under the Pro's hood? The GPU is on steroids. We're talking about a jump from the standard 10.28 teraflops to a mighty 18.05 teraflops. It's a custom AMD beast mixing RDNA 2, 3 and even some RDNA 4 pixie dust, especially for ray tracing. Expect shinier reflections, deeper shadows, more complex lighting, running a little more easily. It also features the PSSR, the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. Now cringy name aside, it's Sony's answer to DLSS and FSR. This AI upscaler aims to boost resolution and frame rates, promising potentially smoother 4K 60fps experiences or even higher frame rates if the developers implement it. Dual storage, it has a roomy 2TB NVMe SSD which comes standard. It also has next-gen Wi-Fi 7 on board for potentially faster, more stable wireless connections, and a slight CPU bump. Still the Zen 2 architecture, but potentially clocked a tad higher. Now the catch is that the PS5 Pro commands a premium $700. And here's the kicker, no disk drive included. Yes, at nearly $700, you need to fork out another $80 or so for the optical drive if you want to play physical media. That pushes the total cost towards $800 territory. Is the Pro worth it? Early impressions say that it does deliver tangible boosts in PS5 Pro enhanced games. Think smoother, high fidelity modes in titles like Spider-Man 2. Older games get a general uplift too, but for many, especially without a high-end 120Hz display, the difference might feel incremental rather than revolutionary. And that price combined with the missing disk drive and uncertain Indian availability makes it a very niche proposition right now. It feels less like a necessary upgrade, more like a luxury tier. Okay, Slim or Pro, the core PS5 DNA remains potent, but let's talk about the real magic, the secret sauce that still feels special in 2025, the DualSense controller. Forget basic rumble, the haptic feedback here is a revelation, feeling that plink of the rain, the crunch of snow, the thwip of Spidey's webs. It adds a tactile layer that pulls you deeper into the game world. It's not a gimmick, it genuinely enhances immersion. And those adaptive triggers, chef's kiss, the way they fight back when you draw a bow, simulate the recoil of different firearms, or provide resistance on the accelerator. It connects you to the on-screen action in a way no other standard controller quite matches. Sure, we have the pricey DualSense Edge for pro gamers, craving back pedals and customization, but the standard DualSense remains a triumph of design. Yes, the battery life could still be better, expect maybe 6 to 12 hours depending on intensity, but it's a small price to pay, and let's not forget that blazing fast SSD. Load times are often an afterthought on PS5 native titles. Booting up, fast travel, retrying a section, it happens in seconds, respecting your precious gaming time. Expanding that storage is also easy and more affordable now with standard M.2 drives. Hardware is great, but games are king, and the PS5's kingdom currently is thriving. Sony's commitment to high production value, often narrative-focused exclusives, remains its trump card. The hits keep coming. Spider-Man 2, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Returnal, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Demon's Souls, The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 Remastered, Gran Turismo 7. The list of top-tier exclusives is seriously impressive. And what's cooking? Death Stranding 2 on the beach lands this June. The Ghost of Yotai promises samurai excellence in 2025, and the highly anticipated Marvel's Wolverine slugs in the shadows. Plus, Sony has unannounced heavy hitters up its sleeve. Now let's address the elephant in the room: exclusives going to PC. Yes, it's happening. Sony's strategy has clearly evolved. We've seen Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, God of War 2018, Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales, Uncharted, Legacy of Thieves, The Last of Us Part 1, Returnal, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, all make the jump to PC. Usually 1 to 3 years after their console debut. Multiplayer titles like Helldivers 2 even launched simultaneously. Does this devalue the PS5? I'd argue no. Sony seems committed to giving the PlayStation player a significant window of exclusivity for its biggest single-player titles. Think of the PC release as a second wave, expanding the audience after the game has made its mark and sales on the console. It means more players get to play these amazing games eventually, while PS5 remains the place to play them first, and often with unique DualSense integration. Now, beyond exclusive, third-party support is also rock solid. GTA 6 this fall, check. Doom: The Dark Ages, check. Borderlands 4, check. MGS Delta, check. Virtually every major multi-platform game hits the PS5, often looking and playing fantastically. In fact, even Forza Horizon 5 is now coming to the PlayStation. Who would have thought? Backwards compatibility is strong for PS4 games. Most work flawlessly, often better. But if you're hoping to pop in your old PS3 and PS2 or PS1 discs, well, you're out of luck. Some classics are available by the PS Plus premium streaming subscription thing, but it's not the comprehensive backward compatibility seen on the Xbox. Compared to the PS4 at the end of its ridiculously long and successful life, does the PS5 library feel as vast right now? Maybe not in sheer volume across all tiers. The PS4 had years to build an incredibly diverse catalog. The PS5's focus on high-end AAA experiences is amazing, but perhaps the cadence of variety of exclusives feels different to some veterans. However, with backwards compatibility covering the PS4 era and the PS5's own library rapidly expanding with quality titles, there's absolutely no shortage of incredible games to play. Now, while I say this, I do also know that PS4 titles still run basically the same as they did on the PS4. I mean, look at Red Dead Redemption 2 or some of the other older PS4 games. Definitely these games run like 1,000 times better on a PC, but you still have that library on tap. If you have a PS5, you still have all the PS4 games to play. Now let's talk money. New big budget AAA games on the PS5 launch at that $70 price point. Yes, it's a step up from the $60 standard of the last generation, and it can feel steep, especially with the regional economic pressures in various parts of the world, tariffs, and especially now that Nintendo is pushing the bar of pricing even higher, going to $80 or even $90 in pricing their games. This is one area where PC gaming often has an edge, with more frequent and deeper sales across various storefronts. However, console gamers aren't left entirely in the cold. Digital sales happen regularly on the PS Store, and if you opted for the disc version, the used game market is your friend. Buying pre-owned can save you significant cash. And then there's PlayStation Plus. Well, it's not a day one exclusive service like Game Pass on the Xbox and PC, and the extra and premium tiers are good propositions for accessing a massive backlog. Getting names like Horizon Forbidden West, Ratchet and Clank included months after launch significantly softens the blow of the initial purchase price if you're patient. Now there are 3 tiers. Essential, which gives you online play. It still blows my mind that on console you have to pay to play games online. Of course, in PC or even on your phones in iOS and Android, you don't need to pay to just play online. You're already paying for the internet. You already paid for the device. I have no idea why these companies make you pay to play online. You also get access to cloud saves, another basic thing which should be free by now, and a few monthly games which are mostly hit or a miss. Extra is where it's at. You get all essential features, plus you get a huge PS4 and PS5 game catalog. Premium, in my mind, it's not worth it at all. It gets all the extra features. It gets a classics catalog. It gets game trials, which seem to be the only headlining feature of it. Now these game trials are only around 5-6 hours. So yeah, you're basically not getting that much extra for the price, and you get cloud streaming. So the PS Plus is Sony's answer to managing game costs over time, and it's a okay-ish offering, even if it's different in philosophy from the much superior Game Pass. Time for the showdown. How does the PS5 fare against the competition in 2025? PS5 versus Xbox Series X, the arch rival. Series X, which is around $500, 53,000 Indian rupees, boasts comparable power, pre-PS5 Pro I'm talking about, superior backwards compatibility, and the undeniable allure of Game Pass Ultimate. If day one access to Microsoft first-party titles is paramount, Xbox wins the subscription war. Even then, if you don't care about Microsoft first-party titles, Game Pass is still a much better deal. The PS5 counters with its powerhouse exclusives, that incredible DualSense, and currently a dominant sales lead globally. It often boils down to which games do you have to play and how important is that controller feel versus the subscription value. PS5 versus the Nintendo Switch 2. The wild card arrives June 5th at $450 before the tariffs. Let's see how much the pricing changes after the tariffs. The Switch 2 is cheaper than the PS5 Disc or Pro. It promises a huge leap for Nintendo fans: 1080p, 120Hz portable screen, 4K docked potential, backward compatibility, and that unbeatable Nintendo first-party magic, starting with Mario Kart World. It's not a direct power competitor to the PS5, but its unique hybrid nature and exclusive library makes it very attractive, or alternative, or a companion console. It will compete for your gaming time and budget, but I honestly think if you're going to buy a Nintendo, you will buy a Nintendo. That's a completely separate market and fan base. I don't think people really compare and think about whether or not they should buy a PS5 or a Nintendo. If you want or like Nintendo games, you're gonna buy a Nintendo Switch. PS5 versus PC gaming. The customizable behemoth. PC offers ultimate graphical potential if your wallet can handle it. Mods, cheaper games over time, versatility beyond gaming, and near infinite backward compatibility. But building a PC to truly match or exceed the PS5 Pro performance remains a significantly more expensive endeavor. Think 1.5 lakh or around $1,500 plus easily. The PS5 delivers phenomenal optimized experiences with console exclusives and the DualSense factor for a fraction of that upfront cost. It's simplicity and optimization versus flexibility and raw potential at a price. Now, if you want to enhance your PS5 life, Sony's got gear. The Pulse 3D or Elite headsets. Now, these are some good audio options designed for the PS5. The Elite boasts planar drivers, better battery, and PS Link lossless wireless, but the original Pulse 3D is more affordable. Neither supports standard Bluetooth audio directly for other devices easily, which is a bummer. It's really proprietary the way Sony handles its audio systems. Really should be open source and open-ended. You should be able to use any Bluetooth headsets you have, but Sony won't let you. The PlayStation VR 2, it's a high-end VR for the PS5. Now it has stunning visuals, it has eye tracking, haptics, it's wired, it's pricey, $550, and the library is growing, but still finding its feet compared to PC VR giants. A serious investment for VR enthusiasts. There's the DualSense Edge, the Pro controller, it's $200. Swappable sticks, it has back buttons, trigger stops, it's great for competitive players, overkill for most, should have had Hall effect sticks, but instead they gave you swappable ones to make more money. It is how it is. The PlayStation Portal, I'm not even going to talk about it, completely useless, don't buy it. The media remote, HD camera, and charging stations, these are some little useful quality of life additions depending upon your setup. The PS5 interface is slick, fast, and largely intuitive. Booting up is quick, navigating menus is smooth. The control center gives easy instant access to key functions without leaving your game. Activity cards are genuinely useful for tracking progress and jumping straight into specific parts of a game. Game hubs keep everything related to a title organized. Sony continues to refine it, adding features like Welcome Hub customization, Game Help integration, improved parental controls, and robust accessibility options. Support for VRR and 1440p output ensures compatibility with modern displays. Is it perfect? Nah. Some actions still feel a button press or two longer than on the PS4. And the lack of a true multi-game suspend and resume feature like Xbox Quick Resume remains a slight bummer, but overall it's a modern, capable, and gamer-focused OS. We also need to mention the PS Remote Play. This lets you stream your PS5 gameplay to other devices, PC, Mac, phone, tablet, or that stupid Portal handheld. Your mileage will vary because it depends heavily on your network quality. Wired PS5 is highly recommended. It's fantastic for catching up on RPGs or slower paced games away from the main TV, but the inherent latency will frustrate you and it's mostly not playable. 4+ years in, how's the hardware holding up? Generally pretty well. Widespread issues like the Xbox 360's Red Ring of Death haven't materialized. However, no console is immortal. Potential issues reported by some users over the time include DualSense woos. Stick drift remains the most talked about gremlin, though perhaps less common than initially feared. The trigger button failures or battery degradation can happen. Power hiccups, random shutdowns, freezes, or a failure to power can occur, sometimes pointing to PSU issues. Heat management. Overheating is usually preventable with good ventilation, but fan noise failure isn't impossible. SSD and software glitches are rare, but possible data corruption or OS issues do exist. Now, these are all very, very rare. I'd say over 98% consoles run perfectly fine even after so many years. So the key takeaway, most PS5s are reliable workhorses, but keep it clean, give it breathing room, and be aware that complex electronics can sometimes fail. Standard warranty is typically 1 year. Oh, and good news on the power front, the PS5 Pro, despite its extra grunt, is surprisingly efficient, often using the similar or only marginally more power than the slim models during gaming, around 210 to 235 watt range, defying fears of it being a power hog. Also, it points out that used models might probably be a good deal, as these things are fairly reliable, so you don't need to worry about reliability if you're buying a used one. Before the final verdict, I want to specifically shout out Sony's fantastic work on accessibility. This is a massive pro. The PS5 offers a comprehensive suite of features baked into the OS. It has visual aids, it has audio aids, controller customization, you have full button remapping, vibration and trigger intensity adjustments, and the brilliant Access controller, which is a highly adaptable kit designed for players with limited mobility. You can even use a second controller as an assist controller. Sony has made genuine strides here, making gaming more inclusive for everyone, and huge props for that. Okay, deep breath. After dissecting every angle, should you pull the trigger on a PlayStation 5 in April 2025? And the answer is an enthusiastic yes. If Sony's exclusives are your jam, the DualSense experience matters, you need a good high-end console without the PC hassle, or if you're upgrading from the PS4. The value inclusivity is also great, and if you spot a good deal, it's a very tempting purchase. Now, who should not buy a PS5? If you really want a day one subscription access and it's a non-negotiable option for you, Xbox Game Pass, it's still the undisputed champ here. If your budget is extremely tight, a PS4 or an Xbox Series S might be a better option if you're running an extremely tight budget. Otherwise, just please buy the PS5. If you have a gaming PC, if you already have a beastly rig and you don't mind waiting for eventual PC ports of exclusives, the PS5 might, and I'll tell you what, it will feel redundant. If you have a good gaming PC, I'd highly recommend against it. You really don't need it. Just wait it out and you'll get all the games on the PC. It's really better. Now, honestly, for most people in 2025, the PS5 Slim offers the best balance of price, performance, and features. The Pro, I won't recommend much. It is slightly more powerful, but it's not essential at all for a fantastic PS5 experience. So that's it, we made it. That's our exhaustive, no holds barred look at the PlayStation 5 landscape in April 2025. It's evolved, matured, and despite new challenges and its own quirks like that Pro pricing strategy, it remains an absolute powerhouse of a console, anchored by phenomenal games and that still magical DualSense controller. It does deliver on the next gen promise, although not as nicely as we had imagined it to, but it still delivers. So what's your take? Are you team PS5, planning a purchase, or sticking with something else? Which model makes sense to you? Let me know your thoughts, your experiences, your burning questions down in the comments. Let's get the discussion going. If the deep dive helped you out, smash that like button, consider subscribing for more comprehensive gaming content, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Game on, stay awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.